Welcome to Binge Theory, the coolest corner on the internet. Today we have Logan.
Hello.
Clara.
Hi.
And Kenny.
What up?
Hey, and today we're going to be doing a rapid fire show. We're going to try and keep it under an hour. We tend to run away with things because we love what we do and we love you, the viewers. But right off the top, Logan, you were going to give us some wonderful information about what's going on in Star Trek world.
Yes. So, as we mentioned last week, yesterday was Star Trek Day, the 55th anniversary of the first airing of the original series back in 1966. It was a little bit longer of an event than I realized. It was almost 3 hours streaming last night, hosted by Will Wheaton and Mika Burton, LeVar Burton's daughter. They had a live orchestra that was fantastic. So they got to do, as they would talk about some of the legacy shows, they'd actually play the opening themes kind of after the actors would speak. So they played a version of the Enterprise theme, and after George Takei spoke, they played the original series theme. So they had a lot of nice homages to the previous series, as well as a whole slew of new information about the upcoming series. Most of them now have release dates, and we kind of have a sense of when things are coming out. Star Trek Lower Decks, which is the more adult-themed animated show, which is actually airing now, had a mid-season trailer, so they got to show off a little bit more.
What do you mean by adult-themed?
So think, what would it be? Simpsons or Family Guy or something. Wow. It's an animated show,
that is
but you're not
about adult themed.
Adult themed. No, it's not Star Trek. Goes deep in space.
The lower decks.
Yeah. It's not the lower parts of the lower decks. It's just lower decks. That is airing now. So they had a nice little interview with some of the cast. The ones that I was really interested in were the two new series that'll be coming out, Prodigy and Strange New Worlds. Strange New Worlds, I think probably most in particular because Anson Mount's portrayal of Christopher Pike from season 2 of Discovery pretty much made him my favorite captain of all of them. In that one brief season. So the fact that he could do that and then got his own show, I am so excited to see him, as well as the legacy characters that they're kind of reintroducing and retelling stories about.
Now, forgive me, Logan.
Sure.
Who's the character that plays Pike?
Anson Mount is the actor.
Well, what else has he been in? Because I don't know that name for some reason.
He was in... what was the Marvel one that failed miserably? Inhumans, that's right. Inhumans.
Was he also in...
he was in Game of Thrones, wasn't he?
I might know him.
No,
I think he was...
I do not believe he was... I have not watched Game of Thrones. I don't think so.
Was he in Hell on Wheels?
Yes, Hell on Wheels.
Got it.
That's the other one.
Yeah, he has kind of like, he's gone silver, a little bit silver.
A lot of it silver.
Yeah, no.
But it works for him.
Yeah.
And not only that, they released the rest of their cast, so they're actually having an Ensign Uhura that they have recast and are kind of re-bringing back into the fold. They'll have a Nurse Chapel, if you remember from one of the original episode, as well as a Dr. Mabenga, who I think we only saw in the beginning before even Bones came on. So that's going to be really exciting. And then one thing they just kind of slid in there that I had to actually catch on our replay was that one of the characters who was listed as the recurring first season character was a Lan Noonien Singh, if that last name rings any bells.
No.
Khan Noonien Singh?
Oh,
Yes.
wait.
So is it a daughter? Is it a
Yeah.
genetically engineered female clone? Like, who knows what's going on with that? And is she a reoccurring villain or part of the cast or on the ship or who knows what's going on there? So they teased quite a bit in not saying anything about that. So I am even more excited than I was.
No, this sounds intriguing. Now, what networks? I'm sorry, did you say what networks these are going to be
So
on?
these are all streaming on Paramount Plus.
All right.
Everything is on Paramount Plus, which used to be CBS All Access.
Right. Yeah, because we've been having a lot of fun with these like watch parties. I would love to start doing some Star Trek episodes.
Yes, I would very much like to do that as well. Not only that, with Strange New Worlds, they've got Star Trek Prodigy, which is the second animated series that they're doing, and one that I'll actually be able to show my kids, which will be nice for a change. And one of the features of that one for me is getting to see my second favorite captain, Catherine Janeway. She'll be back voicing the animated Catherine Janeway this time.
Oh.
Kate Mulgrew will. And the villain's going to be voiced by John Noble.
You're making me turn to my nerd card here. What's John Noble from?
So many things. Lord of the Rings. Fringe. He's been in. You would see him or hear his voice and know him in a second, and I'm not doing his full bio justice. But he is a wonderful actor, a wonderful person. I got to meet him at conventions a couple times.
Oh yeah. To me he's X-Files guy.
Okay, yeah, X-Files, sure.
Wasn't he the smoker in X-Files?
No, nope, different guy. He was not the smoking man.
The steward of Gondor.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
Claire's trying to figure it out.
I remember.
She's like, he was the king, and I'm like, no, he was the steward.
He was the one that.
He was the steward of Gondor.
Yeah, so I said,
that really nice.
Come, Hobbit, sing me a song.
I'm not gonna remember a line like that, but yes.
Very cool.
Yep.
Very cool.
Yeah. So that'll be great. And then the fun thing too is that so Prodigy is going to start premiering on Paramount Plus on October 28th, and then on November 18th, Star Trek Discovery Season 4 begins, and that will actually mark the first time in 20 years that two Star Trek series have been running simultaneously. Since Voyager and Deep Space Nine did it back in the 90s.
Interesting. No, I hope they have a good run, and those series live long and they prosper.
I hope they do.
You see, I did the thing.
I can't do that. This is what you get from me. I can't do it. Like I get this.
Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah.
I've tried.
Yeah. Nope.
Very
Especially
cool.
So yeah, that and then Star Trek Picard just wrapped up filming. That will be February of 2022. Sometime around then, featuring Q will be back.
Q.
Yes, he'll be back causing trouble. And they released a full trailer that shows a very comprehensive time travel plot, putting them actually back in modern day, fixing things that apparently some mischievous things that Q had gotten up to. So that should be very interesting seeing that. And it was also preemptively renewed for a season 3. So there will be more Jean-Luc Picard coming as well.
Awesome. The only thing I remember is when Kirk and Spock went back to the 80s, and somebody cursed out Kirk because he was crossing the street against the light, and he said, "What are you doing, dumbass?" And he's like, "Well, a double dumbass to you." But you did it in the Kirk way. Double dumbass to you. There you go. Thank you. I'll be here all the week. Very cool. No, but we got to stay on top of these episodes because like I said, if we can start watching them and doing reactions, and first of all, the original series, I think that's on Netflix. I think
at least for now.
Yeah,
I know they're supposed to be all on Paramount Plus. So there's one place to go, but I'm sure if some streaming service drops enough of a cash load at their door, they'll share for a little while.
Yeah, and I think probably Netflix is has a contract that needs to expire before they they're not just going to drop the shows.
Right.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah. Awesome stuff.
Hey, Logan.
Yeah.
Clara wants to know if Wings is on Paramount Plus.
I don't want to know. I said Wings is on because it was on the CBS one. So if that's the neat replacement,
As
then
far as I know, everything that was on, or pretty much everything that was on CBS, just carried over to Paramount Plus.
That's how she determines if we should get the subscription.
Honestly, I think the package I'm on was only like $5.99 a month.
yeah, but when you had Netflix for what is it now, $12.99, you got HBO, then you that's it all adds up.
I hear you. It absolutely adds up.
Prices.
But for me, the consistency of the Star Trek, because I was originally just going to kind of get it while Discovery was on, and then drop it for 6 months and pick it back up. They're doing this quarterly release of at least one Star Trek show, so it's just like, all right, fine, I'll just keep
Yeah, and I bet you're not the only one.
I'm sure I'm not, and I'm sure that's why they're doing it.
Well, you know what? I'm thinking we got to start scheduling some, awesome watch parties. And again, as I did promise, I will be doing Downton Abbey. It's been a busy week. Speaking of busy week, I want to go ahead and throw in my little contribution, only because it's hot topic, not the lovely story you see in the mall, but an actual topic.
Hot Topic is not punk rock.
No. Hot Topic is kind of a chic goth, if you will.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And they sell Funko Pops, which is very nerdy for such a trendy place. I just want to say that. But wanted to put this out there because I just recently today have seen the Matrix 4 trailer. It's titled what? Because they're all
Resurrections.
Resurrections, yes, because there was the first one, then there was Reloaded, then there was Revelations, now there's Resurrections. It's like a Ford, they just keep using the same naming convention. But and guys, did you all get to see the trailer?
Yes.
Or watch the trailer?
I'm a mom with an infant and a toddler.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what that means. Is that your internet not work?
I actually literally watched it just before we got on.
Yeah, very good. Well, and again, on our channels, you can see the my live reaction to the actual video on our YouTube channel and our Facebook channel. Real quick, my take on it pretty much, has not changed. Matter of fact, the more that I thought about it, it was almost a beat for beat recreation of the original series, and it kind of
the original movie.
Yeah, well, the first two specifically.
History repeats itself.
Yeah, but I mean, not for $12.99. I don't want it to repeat itself. I want to.
They did that with what? He's going to correct me on the words.
The Force Awakens.
Thank you. The Force Awakens versus what was the original one?
A New Hope.
A New Hope. They did that with that one, and it was popular.
Yeah, but there were at least different characters. This is literally Neo, and he's playing. And correct me if I'm wrong, Kenny. I mean, and Logan, you saw this too.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I mean, and again, I'll speed this up, but Keanu Reeves, fantastic human being. I've seen all the footage of him, giving up seats, not molesting fans while he's taking pictures. A1 guy.
Bar.
Yeah, that's the bar.
No, Keanu Reeves sets a bar. I think Keanu Reeves sets a bar on how to be a good human, like in general. Like,
yeah, and that's my point.
Beyond,
yes,
that is my point. I love him as a human being. Now that being said, his acting is trash. It's always been trash. It will always be trash. But
everything before the butt doesn't count.
No. Well, okay. In addition to his trash acting, he has a niche of a skill set. And if you ever notice, the best films he's ever in, he is always discovering things. He doesn't know what's going on. And the more he starts to know, the worse the movie gets. That's why The Matrix 1 was so good, because he was always out of his element. He was discovering things. He was like, he was confused, but
I would argue Point Break doesn't follow that pattern.
That was not a good film, Logan. That is a cult. That is a cult film. That is a cult film, and he was confused because Brody was leading him around by the nose the whole time. Am I wrong? He didn't know what was going on. He was out of his element. He's always out of his element, at least in my opinion. But except for John Wick, and you notice there's not a lot of dialogue in John Wick. I mean, he probably has 5 lines through the entire movie. It's and it's not, they're not good lines either. I mean, yeah, I'm thinking I'm back. I mean, come on, that's not Oscar.
Well,
but again, it works for what it is.
So are you going and operating on the assumption that every movie should be Oscar worthy?
I'm going on the assumption that at least one of your movies should be good. That's what I'm going off of.
But if your equation to good is Oscar worthy, then that's, to me, that's setting the bar too high.
I'm being
Avengers movie, or how many Marvel movies are Oscar worthy?
I'm being facetious, not literally an Oscar. But I mean, for crying out loud, be able to deliver a line, have some inflection in your voice.
I look at it as the man's been in the movie business for a while, and
yes,
that's going to determine anything.
I know.
Yes, thank you. I mean, yes, and that's also the frustrating part is he's been in it for 40 years, it seems, and he still can't deliver a line. I mean, well, what is that? And again, great human being. I'm just saying that he's, and to my point, this is literally him in this trailer. He doesn't know who he is. He's meeting, a bald black man in sunglasses that teaches him kung fu.
Yeah, but it's to introduce the younger generations to the previous Matrix movies.
There's an interesting scene or very short clip in the trailer. Someone is actually watching the first Matrix movie in the actual trailer. It's like you see it in the background. It's the scene. It's like the scene where he first takes the red pill and the mirror, gets stuck to his finger and he starts.
That's not a movie. That's a new scene doing the exact same thing. That's yes.
Oh, it's because
I've watched it 4 times already. That is the new Morpheus touching the screen.
It's not Morpheus, it's Neo.
Well, okay, it's Neo, but it's there. I'm sorry. There's 2 scenes with a mirror. There's one with Morpheus where he has his shirt off and he touches the mirror, and there's one where Neo touches the mirror or steps through it. And
I'm going to find the scene I'm talking about because
we'll all rewatch it again. My point being is that there's so many beats that are exactly pulled from the original series. It brings nothing new to the table. There's helicopters.
Maybe it's people interested.
Yes, but that's called not a reboot. That's like a remake. I mean, it's almost seems like they're remaking the entire movie. Just
Force Awakens is the same thing. I mean, it's to introduce the new generation to the older movies. Get people interested in going back to those.
Then they should just call it The Matrix and call it a day, because tacking on what is it again? Revitalization. What's the name of this thing again?
But so then it goes back to my question that I've had before: is there an appetite for it? Right? Like I talked about the Downton Abbey movie. There was obviously an appetite for the series. Still, they made it into a movie. So it's the same thing with this. Is there still an appetite even for a Matrix 4? And if there wasn't, maybe this is their way of getting people to have an appetite for another Matrix series.
Possibly. And again, don't get me wrong. I definitely feel that they're trying to revitalize it. Mm-hmm. I don't think there's an audience for this. I think that the 90s Matrix and the early 2000s Matrix is based off of an understanding of cyber hacking and all that doesn't really hold up to this day and age. I mean, we're a TikTok generation, and they're literally doing. I mean, remember the Matrix was dial-up. I just think it may be.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, literally dial-up with a modem. So I just don't know if stylistic gun fu, and I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Keanu Reeves, like I said, and what's her name, Carrie Ann Moss, I believe, yeah. I'm really excited to see that. But if you look at the trailer, I mean, the hallway fight scenes, the helicopter, the jumping off the ledge of a building, the white, the White Rabbit, and Alice in Wonderland. Everything was already, touched on in the first couple of movies. So I'm optimistic, but I'm very concerned. That's all I'll say.
I'm excited for it. I think there's going to be enough that his John Wick audience will, if they haven't seen The Matrix already, will be there for this Matrix. And I think that by itself could be enough tacked on with the just nostalgia of The Matrix itself. Secondly, anything Neil Patrick Harris is in has my money. That was so freaking awesome to see him.
Yes,
he's the best.
That was a shock. Yes,
that was a shock, and that was wonderful.
In the trailer, he's in a therapy session with Neil Patrick Harris as the therapist. Yes,
yes,
yep.
It was amazing.
Interesting.
As far as the rest of it, I think my concern about it is not, the acting or the rehash of it or anything, but it's that when you're going back to a property like this that already has that whole kind of Inception type thing going, I think there's a risk of flushing yourself down the Inception toilet and going so many levels that it cheapens any kind of emotional arc or concept of risk, so that you're never sure that it's not just, well, they're just going to wake up somewhere else and another layer down in the Inception. And those kinds of things, I haven't seen very many of those done in a way that still holds that kind of emotional risk through everything, which is, the point of how you get invested in the story of the characters.
That's an excellent point. I mean, literally the main characters that we loved in this, minus Fishburne, are back, and after,
well, that's the thing. The original Matrix only had one layer. It had, the Matrix, and it had out. But if this is going to, in order to try and tell a story with the same characters in a more in-depth way or whatever, go more layers than that, are they going to try and say that, yes, there's the Matrix, and then there's not out, but there's just, for those people who couldn't live in the Matrix and needed dystopia, that was a whole nother Matrix. That was just a different layer of stuff. And there's actually another one even below, are they going to start to try and do that to come to some sort of heart or spiritual core of a machine or something like that is going to be, a step too far. That step too far in that kind of Inception wormhole is my concern about what may happen with this one. But I'm still going to go see it.
No, I love, and again, I'll go see it as well. Yeah, I'm
not even going to go see it. I'm going to stream it on HBO Max in December when it comes out, because HBO is still doing that, and that's why I still have an HBO subscription.
And you know what? Maybe we can all watch it together, and
yeah,
or
at least week watch party, totally.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, because we
cool.
should the whole world.
just time your free trial for that week. It'll be great.
Exactly. And again, I'm a big Keanu Reeves fan, but I just think this is, trash water. But I could be wrong. It just hasn't happened.
That doesn't matter.
I'm trying to watch a lot of Downton Abbey, and if I'm going to sacrifice time for Downton Abbey to watch Neo literally fight another Agent Smith while being trained by another Morpheus.
I actually don't think it's
no
that he's
awakened, maybe, but not trained.
I think that this might be Neo bringing the new Morpheus out.
Well, and then that's the case. Is this a new more? I mean, I even said that in the trailer reaction. So this is a new Morpheus, and it's going to be him reminding Morpheus of who he is, or is it going to be Morpheus reminding Neo of who he was?
Could be both.
We'll see. We'll see. It could be both. It could be a wonderful journey of self-discovery. Yes.
Kenny is
that being said,
and Downton Abbey. Which one would have been more worthy of Julian's time?
Hang on. What do you mean?
The Matrix 4 trailer or Downton Abbey? Which one should you have watched?
well, if you could compress Downton Abbey in 2 minutes, I'd watch it right now.
Hey, look, 2 minutes of Downton Abbey you could have had.
Exactly. See, I'm trying to use my time wisely. Speaking of time wisely, let us move on. Because we've been going through different categories. Let's go into sports, shall we? So, Logan, you had something to share with us regarding sports.
Yeah. So the 2020 Olympics were a month ago. One way to not have incur the cost of rebranding for a lost pandemic year, just say it's still 2020. It's great. In addition to that, so right after the Olympics were the Paralympic Games. Now, I don't know how many people had seen them or actually watched them before, but they had more than the Olympics. They have a lot of live, like full replays, and watching some of that was really just incredible. My wife and I actually really got into wheelchair rugby and literally watched all of the matches all the way through the final. It was incredible to watch the speed and coordination and skill required to play that. It's bumper cars with wheelchairs, and it was incredible.
Yeah.
Now, Logan. A long time ago, I saw a documentary, and I don't want to be, just as a completely oblivious to the differently abled, but I saw a documentary a long time ago called Murder Ball, and was that
Goal Ball?
I
don't know which one Murder Ball was in particular. There are a lot of games with balls at an Olympics, as you can imagine. Let's see. So this is wheelchair rugby. It was. So it was a 2005 documentary about wheelchair rugby.
Yes, a long time. And yeah, it was awesome. Yeah,
it was incredible. It was exhilarating. It was amazing to watch. There were so many different ones that were just wild. So they had categories for, I guess, mobility impairment, you might call it, balance and coordination impairment, visual impairment. I'm gonna probably mess up this one, but basically loss of limbs as kind of working that into everything. We watched a tournament of a ping pong player who played holding the paddle in his mouth.
Wow.
And the spin and the twist and the placement he could put on that ball was just incredible. And it was his 4th Paralympics. He was like 50.
Didn't one of the it was a blind runner that just set a
yes
record?
There were a whole bunch of records and stuff. A lot of the runners there, some of the ones who were more visually impaired than others had guides who ran with them.
Yeah,
I did. Yeah, there was a runner that I had this awesome clip of, and it was in slow motion. And it's this TikTok generation. They had some real cool music playing, but he was running with his guide, and it was just fluid in motion. How they were both, in tandem, but as one, and it was just awe-inspiring. I mean,
yeah. The wheelchair tennis was amazing. It was this, and I don't mean this in a bad way. It was I think, slowest I've seen tennis played. But the amount of things they're trying to account for with serving and starting to move their chairs one way or the other, and then to time not only where they're going to be, but where their arms need to be for how they're going to hit it, and the calculations required in this was just incredible. Goal Ball was another one that I'd seen a few times before, but we watched a whole bunch of. My kids wanted to watch that one all the time, so we watched a number of those replays, where it's played on a court with a net maybe 3-4 feet off the ground, and everybody wears. It's another visual impairment category game, But on top of that, everybody wears, masks over their eyes that basically completely block out everything. So everybody's on an even path. And you've got this, heavy duty ball with maybe dodgeball size, a little bigger, but with bells in it that they have to like basically spin, whip, and bounce across the court to the other team, who has to try and use their hearing and placement of the ball to kind of dive and block it. And it was astonishing to watch. Just thinking some of this stuff was just incredible. And the great thing is that we were able to do is because we have cable TV and stuff here. We could put that into the NBC website at where was it? NBCOlympics.com/Paralympic Games, and it basically enabled us to watch all of the live replays, or I keep saying live replays, all of the full event replays or the live matches as they were going on, right on the web right there. They're still on there as of at least yesterday. So you can still kind of go check out what some of those are like if you're into sports or into just kind of seeing, quite frankly, probably some games you've never really seen played before. But it was really, really amazing. And it just, the athleticism and the skill and I just didn't think it got enough attention, after or in the shadow of the Olympics.
Absolutely. And again, the Olympics were such a let's just say an unorthodox Olympics this year. I mean this time round. A lot of controversy and news breaking things that had nothing to do with athletics whatsoever.
Yeah.
But it is, and this sounds like a great opportunity to just focus on the sports, drama free. And again, I mean, I didn't even think about that, because I saw, Murder Ball way back when, and I was like, that's the coolest thing. And then, you just go on with other things, and I never got into it. But I did see a commercial, and I'm sure we all have seen this commercial where there's a swimmer who was amputated, he had an accent. I forget what country he was from, but he was doing this beautiful narration about when I was a kid, people would always stare, and now I say it's okay to stare. Not every time you meet a two-time gold medalist or something like that. And he's like a swimmer, and no, it was just a really inspiring commercial.
There was a swimming match we saw, and I want to say there were three swimmers from China actually swept that particular one. Two of them, for all intents and purposes, did not have arms, and the other one was in a wheelchair and couldn't use the lower half of his body. And they were the three fastest swimmers in the whole pool, and it was just incredible to watch.
That's amazing.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, go check it out, people. Experience something new. Now, moving on. Thank you for that, Logan. Now, Clara had mentioned this, and I'm familiar with it on the peripheral, but I've never really delved into this wonderful social media show that was put together by the Smiths. So, Clara, can you tell us a little about Red Table Talk?
Oh, Red Table Talk. So Jada Pinkett Smith, it's her show. I think it's supposed to mimic a daytime talk show, which I'm generally not a fan of. But this to me is so much, it's different than a daytime talk show, and it's better than a daytime talk show. They really talk about issues or concerns or topics from a lot of different angles, which I think is what's missing from a lot of daytime talk shows. That there's not a lot of different angles. There might be one, two. This one, they usually purposely try to bring in different viewpoints. So I appreciate that. But they're also very vulnerable in those. And I don't mean vulnerable in the way that like the host breaks down crying. I mean, they're sharing parts of their lives or experiences that have been difficult for the different people that are on the show at the time. So I just really enjoyed it. And aside from it being different, which I like, I also find it really interesting that it's only on Facebook. So I'm
Yes.
surprised no one has picked that show up because it's in its I think it's in its 5th season.
Well, does Facebook have a contract with them? Because I think if you're going to do a show on Facebook, that sounds almost like that's kind of a contract.
And it very well may be that's not my wheelhouse. I don't know that stuff, but I've never seen another show on Facebook, at least not one this popular that I'm aware of.
Right.
But and what I like is they cover such a range of topics. Like, of course, I think the one most people probably watched was the one where Will and Jada actually talked about their new contract relationship, right?
This the entanglement.
No, this is that's another one too.
Entanglement.
So they talked about things like that, but they also talk about like what does polyamory look like. There was another one where it was actually Will and Kevin Hart where they talked about what it's a lot of things, but what is it to be a dad? So like I said, it's a range of topics. I actually really enjoyed.
The polyamory one was good. That I remember. I wasn't watching it, but
yeah, because he hasn't watched it.
No, I was listening to it because I was doing probably dishes or something.
Or just.
But I remember I wasn't ignoring it because I was listening. Because the things I remembered was I didn't know that Willow, was in that lifestyle, and then listening to Willow and Jada's mom.
Yep.
Talk about it, and then like Jada's mom. Basically saying, like, I don't believe in that.
Yep.
But just her listening to it and just accepting that was her granddaughter's choice. And
that's a good point. That's the other thing that I appreciate about the show is there's not this like bickering drama. It's I may disagree with you or I may not understand it, but I'm willing to hear what you have to say. Which is a great example for what we should all be doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
I do like that it's also multi-generational. I mean, you have like 3 generations all addressing one topic, so you get that different perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. And I have a viewing list. Downton Abbey is obviously on it. I also want to catch up on my Star Treks. And Red Table is on the list. It's just a little lower. Then if there's another entanglement episode, maybe I'll watch that. Where there's
is it still? Yeah, I saw a couple from the first season, and I think one of the things I liked about the first season too, and I don't know if the rest of them are still there, it may be, was that it was actually done at their house.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think that if it still is, then I think that also adds a whole different aspect in that you're not going to a sound stage or a set and you don't have a green room and all these, other staff and stuff. There's a personal aspect to it that certainly would make, I would imagine, the Smiths more comfortable, but even the guests in that, you can, there are lights and cameras and microphones and everything, I'm sure, but you're still at the Smiths' house. Like there's a layer there where you're just like, I can probably convince myself that I'm just here talking with friends. And I think that gets a different kind of interaction between the guests and the hosts. And that was very interesting to see for the ones from the first season that I caught.
You're right.
Oh, yeah.
It is a little more. It is a little more disarming.
I never would have thought about that.
Yeah. And what I mean, and I hate to say it, but I saw like just the highlights of the entanglement video, but I did see the beginning of Kevin Hart's episode.
Yeah.
Where he was really late, and they were literally just busting his chops for being so late.
Yep.
But yeah, it is a positive show. In the aspect of showing people communicate and share their feelings in a constructive way, as opposed to that meme where the woman's yelling at the cat. That's I guess the converse of that. Good stuff. So Red Table Talk, send all your payments to Logan at bingetheory.logan.com.
Yeah.
Now moving on. Kenny has, Kenny is our resident Formula One guy. I think that's the official title.
Sure.
So, Kenny, can you tell us what's going on with Netflix and this whole Formula One thingy thing?
So, yeah, that's why I titled it the way I did. Netflix Formula One Drive to Survive, but it's golf. So I want to say the 2018 Formula One season was the first. Netflix basically came to this agreement with Formula One, where they would follow the different teams throughout the season, and then turn it into like a TV series, and it has been extremely successful. There are a lot of media articles that are linking like the success of the show, kind of reviving the success of Formula One, especially here in the United States, because Formula One like viewership has dropped in the U.S. because one, there's no U.S. drivers currently. There's only one race that's done here in the U.S., which is in Texas at the Circuit of the Americas. So this show kind of gets really behind the scenes, and you get more in-depth personal details of the drivers. You get to see what they're doing in their day-to-day lives, and you see that their what their motivations are for getting into Formula One, and the drama behind it, and and then the drivers, basically not knowing if they're going to have a contract the next year. So it's been really successful, and it's a great series. It's only 10 episodes per season. I think they're each about an hour long, but they're great. Like, it's one of the reasons that I got back into Formula One. We had some friends in the UK that recommended it to me, and after watching it, it made me that much enjoy Formula One that much more. Like, I felt more invested in the drivers. So
those are the best way. And Kenny, you hit on something. If you don't have a familiarity with, say, an athlete, well, I guess it's all sports, and you do like a personal journey with them behind the scenes, you start to have a vested interest. I remember when UFC started and they had The Ultimate Fighter. I knew nothing about cage fighting, but they put you in a house with these guys, and you hear backstories, and you start to have, an actual opinion on whether they win or lose. And then next thing you know, you're hooked on it. So I completely get, that, seeing, not just the race, but what leads up to it, and learning more about the drivers can really give you that extra, perspective.
So I think because of the success of that show, this throughout 2021, I guess they Netflix approached the PGA Tour, and they've worked out a deal where next season, the 2022 PGA Tour season, they're going to be doing the same thing with golfers. So you're going to get a similar type of show, but we're going to get a more in-depth look into different golfers that are either on tour or maybe trying to make the tour, and their day-to-day lives, how they, what is it like for them getting ready for the next tournament, and things like that. So I think one of the other notes that I put when I mentioned this topic was like, I'm wondering if Netflix has kind of found a formula for some of these sports shows, because a lot of I think HBO does Hard Knocks, and then Amazon does the All or Nothing, but they're football. Both are football, and football's great. I watch football. I'm a Panthers fan, being from North Carolina.
More importantly, an Auburn fan.
Yeah, and but we're talking NFL, not collegiate. But yes, in collegiate, we are definitely Auburn fans in this household.
You said football.
So, but I think the way they have the series formula, to their series is very it was a unique perspective and a unique take, and showing you more personalized athletes outside of their sports. And I'm wondering if that formula is going to work for other sports, and if maybe they're going to try to highlight other sports and create more series similar to this.
I think that is a formula for success. Again, just because, and here's what's funny: I have not been following football. I'll just use football as a comparison for quite some time. Just I'm from the DC area, and my team sucks, and they've sucked for decades. So I don't
even have a name. So
yeah, I was gonna say, what's their name today?
Well, for this way, one of the reasons why I did not follow them was because of their prior name. And then even after they changed it, it was such a condescending name change. I like him even less. And they don't have the numbers to back up this arrogance. So, that's what I say to them. That being said, like you were talking about Hard Knocks, something like that. If I actually saw something like that, and I was seeing these rookies getting on the team and just their struggles and trials and tribulations, I would be more interested in watching a pro game. But until I can get time to do that, the DC area national football team just they don't get my money. Yeah, so
I'd say go and watch just the first episode of the Netflix Formula One Drive to Survive series.
After you watch Downton Abbey.
It's on the list. It's on the
But I
list.
mean, go and watch it just to see like how they've approached this series, and then tell me if you don't have a slight interest in Formula One.
Downton Abbey, when people talk, then what is this? Drive to Survive.
Yeah, Claire's setting priority here.
I'll post on our social Julian's scheduled viewing list, and then we can just list them all out. And you at home can enjoy these wonderful shows with me. I'll try and do some watch parties with them all. I don't think we can do Red Table Talk because that's on Facebook, and but we'll put something together. What? Also, Formula One. Like I said, I'm a big fan of Rush, starring Chris Hemsworth and Baron von Zemo. Those are
with Niki Lauda and James Hunt.
Exactly.
That's a good movie.
Played by Thor and Zemo. That's exactly who was driving those cars in my mind. Good movie. Check it out. That being said, talking about movies and Marvel, you see how we tie it back to Marvel?
Always got to be some comic books.
Hey, first of all, this is very important because Shang-Chi killed it at the Labor Day box office with a $94 million take. And again, I can't say enough good things about this movie. Not only is it a good Marvel movie, but it's just a good, and not only that, but it's a great martial arts movie, as well as just a good story about family and tragedy and friendship, mysticism. It has a little bit of everything for everybody, and it's just crafted together very well. And I'm so glad that Marvel is allowing, a strong Asian cast to, take the lead and just be successful without leaning into stereotypes and tropes. It's almost anti-stereotypes and tropes, not in a way that they state, like I'll just use an example. Aquafina plays, not necessarily the comedy sidekick, but definitely a lead role in this movie, and she is an excellent driver. And it's almost with just as a matter of fact, because of the horrible stereotypes. So I think to counter that, they literally just made her an excellent driver. Not without mentioning it, without saying anything. That's just what it is. And I love that narrative where it's just like these people are not stereotypical. They're accomplished in their own rights. They're human, just like everybody else. And that is so needed. And again, Disney, for, with the exception of their other failings, has really been primarily good. And, putting a human face with, ethnicity out there, as opposed to just, having it written by a homogenous script crew. You can tell that people of Asian descent were writing and directing, and it just gave it that authenticity and just focusing on the story. So and still nobody else has seen it yet, just me.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet.
Theaters are not a place I'm going to find myself going anytime soon.
It's rough. I go to the theaters. It is what it is. I go to a matinee where there's barely anybody there, and I am double vaxxed, but it is still a risk. So if you are being cautious, be cautious, be safe. Don't risk it if you don't have to.
As soon as it's Discovery Plus or Disney Plus, I'm in.
Yeah, but that's not a risk. That's you literally just watching it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. As soon as it's there, I'm in. I'm watching it, and I'll prioritize that one.
The other thing I think
because apparently Asians do it better.
Is that an apparent thing? I didn't. Is that a thing?
So as a Thai American, yes, Asians do everything better.
I think that's
including Marvel movies.
I could make some comments, but
listen.
Probably safer that you don't.
That's for Binge Theory Lower Deck.
But I think I shared with the group that right now Shang-Chi is the highest rated Marvel movie to date.
Oh, rated? Yes, absolutely. Yeah,
the highest person, the highest,
not yet,
highest rated. And I think that speaks for itself.
I do, and again, not taking away from that at all. That's an amazing feat. I think they're at like 94, 95% last I checked. I do think that because internet, a lot of movies in the past were getting vote bombed, where people were trying to do like a lot of down scoring. But that has been removed. Now Rotten Tomatoes requires proof of viewing of the movie before you can post a view. So I think
98% audience score, 92% critics.
There you go. No, there you go.
I mean,
those are real reviews by people.
All verified reviews. So
excellent. No, it's excellent. I'm not going to attribute that to race. I'm just going to say these are just very good people. But I appreciate your enthusiasm. And again, oddly enough, I'm the only person that's seen it. So what's up with that?
Because it's not out on streaming yet. That's the only problem.
I'm supporting my Asian brothers and sisters. I'm just saying I'm the only one doing it. That's all I'm saying. So
we also can't do matinees either. I think that's a smart way to do it. I agree with that.
Yes.
Maybe we should just rent out Alamo for like a day.
I already called. They won't do that anymore. It's too past. I tried. I literally tried to do that with a group of friends.
Binge Theory takes over the Alamo. It's perfect.
Actually, that was the only stipulation they did say, that they won't do new release movies unless it's for some sort of a corporate event. So if you can convince them that this is a corporate event, we can do it.
Yeah. No, we're corporate.
But I called to find out because I had a group of friends that all have kids and stuff that I wanted to see if that was a possible thing to do. It wasn't, but that was the caveat.
One of the big goals that we've been putting together is possibly well, first of all, we have a Patreon, and what we would definitely like to do is start getting some high level Patreon subscribers in the DC area, and basically, because of your patronage, throw you a watch party at the Alamo Drafthouse. We're working on it. We hope to have that, all the details ironed out soon. So stay tuned. But what you have to do is subscribe and follow us, so you'll stay up to speed on when that happens. All right. Don't forget that. Excellent stuff. Shang-Chi, you got to see it, and stay tuned so we can all go to the movies together. And you can get autographs from Logan and Kenny and Clara, and I'm not really doing autographs because I think that's a little, but they'll sign your stuff.
Is that too bougie for you?
If you're not signing, I'm not signing.
Listen,
I've done plenty of autographs before at conventions. We can set up the table, no problem.
Exactly. Maybe What does Bill Shatner charge for a signature? Because that maybe I'll go down.
It's
that
like $90.
Yeah, it's just 90. Come on.
We got to set up the photo booth and let everyone take pictures with us too. What are those called?
Photo sessions.
That's it. Photo session. All right, we're gonna do a photo.
Yeah.
Binge Theory photo op.
Photo op. Yeah,
Photo op. There we go.
Oh, wow. Excellent stuff. Now, Clara, since we're talking to you, you brought up a point that I think is very interesting, and I know we got a few quick items that we want to knock out here. You have been, our window. You and Logan have been our window into musicals, and just wanted to get your thoughts because you were mentioning binge-worthy musicals, and I didn't know if you had any recommendations or just anything that you wanted to
I'm adding to your list.
So many.
What was that, Logan?
So many recommendations.
I know.
That's what I said. Do you
We're
realize
just gonna add to
Pandora's
your
box?
list. I mean, Julian, are you making this list? Because I'll start prioritizing it for you.
Yes,
Top musicals currently, Hamilton, very binge-worthy. Both the soundtrack or the show. I mean, take your pick.
Hang on. No. There's the show. Soundtrack, and mixtape.
I forgot about the mixtape.
Yes,
There's the Weird Al song too.
Lin-Manuel Miranda.
I forget Weird Al did a Hamilton medley.
What?
Kenny's a huge
I'm a huge Al fan, and I didn't know that.
Epic.
what his next download is. But
now, you
yeah,
gotta find that.
would be up there in the current binge worthy, and really truly, I mean, go either route.
I'll tell you right now, Julian, you would love the mixtape. He's got a song, Lin-Manuel Miranda. A couple of the songs he has on there, like with Nas, and then there's
some of them are catchy.
He got there's a few that are like I mean they thump.
Okay, so we're gonna still do Downton Abbey. I'll put Hamilton, then Red Table Talk. Okay.
All right.
So
all right.
what's your other musicals?
Some other ones. So one that is probably isn't PC at all, but everyone loves is Seven Brides for Seven Brothers. I mean, literally, if
problematic but so wonderful.
Yeah, it's one of those that it's so good you allow it to be problematic, right?
At least for now, yeah.
True.
I want to see that. I want to see that because I'm familiar with the title. Never seen it. Never seen the movie or any of that.
It's wonderful. It's beautiful. It's horrible. It's just troubling and great.
It's the one that when people tell me they don't like musicals, I'm like, watch that one, then tell me you don't like them. Because you can't not like it. I think, at least in my experience, people who've all told me they don't like it, I make them watch it. They're like, oh, that wasn't bad.
I hadn't seen it before you, and I loved it after the first time. It was great.
It is very catchy. It is very fun. So anyways, that's another one.
I've always going to add Rent on the list too.
Which one?
The movie version of Rent.
Oh, yeah.
So that's another one where it's all the original cast, but Dawson added in. And she, as much as I saw, I think, most of the original cast when it was on Broadway originally, and a number of the rotating casts. I would go into New York to see it yearly. It was amazing. But yeah, she really does a fantastic job on that. And there's actually a Star Trek connection now because Anthony Rapp is on Star Trek Discovery. Sorry, he is Mark Cohen.
Thank you.
Is on Star Trek Discovery as yes. And he's just amazing there. And I've been following his musical theater career all the way through. And then when he was cast on Star Trek, I thought I couldn't love him more, and then I do. So he's just wonderful.
So now I don't even.
Let me ask you this again. The
Jersey Boys.
Oh, Jersey
Boys. Let me ask you this.
It's one of my favorites.
Let me ask you this. Being a complete musical noob, there's a new musical that I've been seeing commercials on, and it stars this guy who's well out of his teens, probably.
Dear Evan Hansen.
Thank you. Yes. Now,
I talked about that one a couple episodes ago. So Ben Platt stars in that, and the reason he stars in that is because for lack of any other reason, he was the originating actor in that role when it first came on Broadway.
Right.
When he was closer to that age. I still won't say he was, but close
Right.
to it that you can kind of make it pass. Actually, he just released an album out of actually original music that kind of he wrote. Some really nice tracks on that. He had like a half an hour kind of release party and stuff. I forget, there was one I just heard today that was beautiful. But yeah, that one is coming out. It deals with some tougher topics. If I remember the gist of it, it takes place in a high school, and he's kind of a loner on his own kind of world, and a classmate commits suicide. But they had kind of taken a letter that his therapist or something had been asking him to kind of write to himself. So it looked as if that person who killed himself was close friends with him, and he kind of ran with it to get a little closer to a girl and to kind of have that kind of actual, I don't want to say notoriety, but purpose and popularity in life, and then of course the inevitable downfall when that comes crashing down. The musical was beautiful. The music itself was fantastic. I'm excited to see that, if only because it's hard sometimes with musicals when you know who originated them and you've heard the original casts to kind of just go and enjoy it. The Les Mis production with Russell Crowe and Hugh Jackman was beautiful, but I'm hearing some of these other actors who did 20 years of Les Mis before that, and I can't get into the sound of it. So the fact that he's playing it, I will, for whatever my permission is worth, give him the pass for doing it as old as he is, just so that the voice and the music really stays with it.
Interesting.
I'm going to watch that when I hear that one.
Yeah. No, I definitely, again, adding it to the list, and Claire, you can keep me on point on that. But speaking of that, because I want to knock out a couple items before we wrap up here. Claire, you had mentioned Avatar 2 is now scheduled for I guess December of next year. So a year.
As of now, they push it again.
Yes. Now, is anybody excited to see Avatar 2?
So that's my question. Like, at this point, they almost have to re-release Avatar 1 before anybody will have
don't
like.
Tempt them.
They're going to.
Don't tempt them.
They will, because they have to. How many years ago was the first one? Like
2009.
Yeah, like no one in the current generation has ever probably even heard of it or seen it. I've been waiting for this movie for a very long time. Me and my generation will go see it, but I don't know how many other people will.
And how many movies is Cameron making? Isn't he like making three at the same time?
Three, and he was filming them simultaneously. What's the holdup? Like
no, there's 5.
5?
There's 5. He's filming 4 simultaneously.
Yeah. 2, 3, 4, and 5.
This is going to be Titanic all over again. He's going to re-release it. One.
Yeah.
He's going to re-release it, and then he's going to release these in stages. Then he's going to every time he re-releases one, he's going to re-release those in the theater at the same time on some sort of like watch them back to back thing.
I wonder if
just wait for the 2026 5-movie marathon. Then is what you're saying.
Exactly. There you go.
Yeah. No, you're right. It's going to be like Walking Dead, where every season they just play all the seasons up to that point, and then it just kicks in. So, that's money.
I'm really interested. I love that universe.
If they do it, sorry.
I was talking. I love that universe. I love, obviously, James Cameron does amazing things that I feel like he always raises the bar just a little bit higher, even on himself. I'm very interested to see what these will be, but I feel like they've taken so long. Does anybody even care anymore?
That's what I'm afraid of, is that it's lost its momentum.
Yes.
I would be interested to see how many people are going to the Avatar theme park in Disney to get a sense of how many people are familiar with it and are actually looking for kind of world immersion and content that way.
To that point, Logan, is anybody going to parks right now?
I mean,
yes,
Florida's on fire, but everything's open apparently. But anyway, and I think we may have mentioned this in passing before. Maybe I just talked with Julian about it offline. But one of my concerns is that James Cameron always does boundary pushing, technology breaking, amazing. Just how did this guy come up with this kind of stuff? Whether he did it himself or had the right people around him or took it from somebody who couldn't do it themselves or whatever the case may be. He does that. And my concern with 2, 3, 4, and 5 is that 2 will probably have something like that. But if you're filming 4 back to back, I don't know how he can keep up that James Cameron mystique and that James Cameron innovation when you're shooting 4 simultaneously. You don't have the time to develop new technologies and new ways of looking at things or filming something or thinking about things in between. No time. So yes, 2 should be phenomenal, and I will absolutely go see it. And similar to the way Terminator 2 was as good as Terminator, I think Avatar 2 will have that same kind of a thing because it's had enough time to progress to boundary pushing technology that will be worth the price of admission.
So my 2 worlds in my head.
4 and 5, I don't know.
Yeah.
So I watch a lot of documentaries, and there was a documentary. Don't ask me to place it. There was a documentary that I watched that talked about how he was doing all of these deep dives. Like he actually even went down to
the abyss. The abyss.
Well, this was more modern than that. In recent times, he's done some really deep dives. He went down into Challenger Deep. I think that's what it was, wasn't it? And so now I'm wondering how much of that was for these films. Like, are we going to see Pandora Oceans? Are we going to have?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, because the whole each movie is going to be about a different tribe.
I knew that, but we know that they're underwater tribes.
Yes, he has already said that.
He's already stated that. Yeah.
Well, I made the connection by myself.
Likewise, I did not hear him say that either, but I just figured. But I just figured that he was going to go to different, locations like water.
He's going to go to different depths. You missed it. He's going to go to different depths.
Oh, so
the figurative and literal. And Logan got me. Thank you.
I got you.
Yes. I get puns. There you go. Well, it'll be interesting to see. It'll definitely be interesting to see whenever it comes out, if it comes out, because
2012. Challenger Deep.
Yeah.
I know, like, it looks like they're going to release them like 2 years apart. So.
Yeah.
2 years apart now?
Well, yeah, I heard every year.
Yeah, no,
one a year, every December.
Right now, IMDb is saying 2022, 2024, 2026, and
oh my God, I'm gonna die before they all come out. Yeah. He lives.
First of all, and first of all, to Logan's point,
all over again.
To Logan's point, if this is going to be like over a 10-year stretch, the technology that he starts with may not hold up that well down the road. And
what about the actors? Hold up?
So that could be why they're waiting 2 years between, is so that they have time to leverage new technology between the movies. Because if you do it every year, there's not a lot of time to implement new technology. You're literally just doing like CGI work.
And then he's going to do the remastering of the remastering of the remastering. I can't. I just can't do it.
Yeah. I think first of all,
when it comes out right now, it'll have been pretty much 20 years since the.
Yeah, because there's going to be delays, of course, in between. So,
I'll be frank. I mean, don't get me wrong. Avatar, when it came out, groundbreaking, just like Titanic, groundbreaking. The Abyss, groundbreaking. And I'm sure this one will be cool, but the story was never super intriguing. So
we all saw
just
Dances
don't-
with Wolves. That's why.
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's literally it. You know,
Like Wolves and Pocahontas.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
Oh my
it's a
gosh.
military man that goes quote unquote native, and then finds his true.
Never thought about that.
Oh no, yeah, it's very
I did not come up with that. Believe me.
yeah,
But that is exactly what that is.
yeah, it is. But we will see, and over the many years in production, we'll have time to talk about it and tear it apart, or praise its success. Let's move on, because I want to tap on a couple of quick things. I don't know if you guys saw it. I'm a big Rick and Morty fan, and last week it was the season finale, and it was 2 episodes. Kenny, you saw it?
I didn't see the season finale. I think I know where you're going.
Yes. Well, there was an introduction to. Well, first of all, the whole premise of Rick and Morty is just that there's infinite timelines and infinite realities, so nothing really matters. It's so, but that also opens up the opportunity to have different iterations of people, which they have introduced a new version. Oh, there's puppy time.
Yeah, she's still on a seat.
Yeah, in the storyline, Morty apparently pisses Rick off, and Rick decides he's going to go on his own, and he just says, "You know what? I'm going to replace you. I have a wheel that I've had just for such an occasion," and he spins the wheel, and it lands on 2 crows. So he then gets rid of gets rid of Morty, and then takes on 2 crows, and then they start going on adventures. And he has like a total crow guy outfit, black trench, like a vampire hunter D hat. It looks pretty badass. It is just hilarious. It's one of the funniest, and it was a 2-parter, I believe. It was very funny. You should go check it out. And again, I feel bad because I know it's going to be forever until the new season starts up. But I love that series. It's so tongue in cheek and just poking fun at all the institutions, all the movie institutions, pop culture. They make Cronenberg references. I mean, it's hilarious. So check out Rick and Morty. Catch up. And you know what? We got to do watch parties on them. Done. Who are
the watch parties, man?
I thought you were going to talk about.
I've never seen Rick and Morty.
The live action Morty.
Oh yeah, no, excellent point. Yeah, no, Kenny, thank you for that. Yes, and again, genius, because everybody knows that Rick and Morty was based off of yes.
We all knew that.
Doc Brown and Marty from Back to the Future.
Back to the Future.
Thank you. That's exactly right. And they did a live action with what's his name? Christopher Lloyd.
Yep, Christopher Lloyd who played Doc Brown in
And
the Back to the Future. But they did not use. Of course, they didn't have Michael J. Fox. There's another kid that's Morty.
Yeah, he was.
I love all these little teasers they've done so far.
Yes, he was the kid from It. He was in the movie It as one of the kids. And I don't think they're doing an actual movie. I think these are just teaser spots just to garner interest, because Christopher Lloyd is way too old to be pulling off what Rick does in the series. But Logan, I'm thinking you would love. Well, let me put it this way: it makes a lot of references that you would crack up about.
Mm-hmm.
But the subject matter can be, a little hyper, it goes to some, very interesting places, but it's on Adult Swim, hence the title. And
Got it.
It's actually on HBO Max.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Well, HBO owns Adult Swim, yes.
Okay.
Or Warner Brothers does. They own everything.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of streaming platforms, there are 2 series that I got hooked on during the excuse me, that's not COVID. During the whole shutdown of COVID.
Because we didn't go to the movies with you.
I'm still going to see Shang-Chi again and again. They're going to have to drag me out of theater, literally. So
We're going to keep, I think, 3 seats between us, Julian.
I'll be turning back like, what do you think, Logan? What do you think?
Just text us. Just text us.
Yeah, text me. Well, on Netflix, during the big shutdown where nobody was going anywhere, and you had to find good content. I really got hooked into these crime drama foreign series. One of which was Money Heist. And what's funny is I was watching Money Heist and I started posting on Facebook, has anybody seen Money Heist? And everybody started chiming in. Oh, I love that show. And it's a ridiculous show. The premise is insane, but it's just so engaging. And there's another one titled Into the Night that I got hooked on. Again, here's the premise, and I probably mentioned this on one of our earlier episodes. Into the Night, it's brilliant because it's stupid. It's brilliant in its idiocy. There's like people getting onto a plane, typical thing, and a military guy kind of looks disheveled, jumps onto the plane, and basically says, "We got to go. We got to take off. We got to take off now." And everybody's like, "Why? What's going on?" He goes, "We got to take off." And he waves his gun around, and all of a sudden there's all this chaos, and then the plane takes off. And he's like, "Go west," and they're like, "Why? What's happening?" He goes, "You go west," and then all of a sudden the news starts showing. All these deaths are happening across the globe, and apparently, for some reason, they didn't explain it, at least in the first season, that whatever the sun hits just dies. So it's like this, maybe solar flare or radiation, that the sun is just killing everything in its path. So they're on a plane, and where do they fly?
The Happening.
Into the night.
So it's The Happening, but with a twist.
Well, yes. Yes,
it's The Happening,
yes.
but not The Happening.
Yes,
It's
not a Shyamalan twist. Well, no, The Happening is basically plants trying to kill us. But
right, but you had to get away from. You had to go to the more rural areas. You had to get away from the populated areas. You had to move. I mean, it's similar, but with a twist.
Well, yeah,
right?
It's running from nature at the end of the day. But the funny thing is, they have to stay ahead of the sun, so they keep flying west into the night, and that's how the title. So, and again, it's ridiculous, but it was just. Again, I call it, a COVID binge, because you just have to watch it when you can't literally do anything else. And they're coming out with a new season. So season 2 is on Netflix.
COVID worked in their favor.
Exactly. And again, COVID's been working in a lot of people's favor. Let's not, skate over that. But either way, I will say this, is that those 2 episodes on Netflix have been engaging. I recommend, if you're gonna go on to Netflix, you might want to check them out just to see if there's something that strikes your fancy. And again, watch party. So why not?
Abbey, Hamilton, Red Table Talk.
Yes.
Then Into the Night.
What about F1? Is F1 not rank on that, or is F1 now off the list?
One was never on the list.
It's gotta be like that. Okay.
That's how it is.
I watch plenty of Formula One every Sunday morning against my will.
She does not watch it.
And then he doesn't watch Red Table Talk.
He does not watch Formula One.
What's there to watch? All the cars do this.
Mm-hmm. Is that what they do? Well,
it's not the NASCAR, which is this.
I was going to say that seems a little more exciting than this. Yes, it's a little more dynamic. Kenny, what's the name of the Black British driver that's really been Lewis Hamilton?
Yeah.
No relation to the musical Hamilton?
No.
Okay, just making sure.
So it's still at the bottom. Real Hamilton's up here.
Real Hamilton, not singing Hamilton, not driving Hamilton.
Correct. I'm glad you understand this.
Right. Well, no, because I've again, I'm not a big Formula One fan, but you got to enjoy what you can enjoy. You sample a little bit of everything.
You can enjoy it after Downton Abbey.
Listen, you need to do a watch party of Downton Abbey with me. So, where's your commitment?
Are you going to drink Earl Grey tea while we're watching?
What's that?
Are you going to drink Earl Grey tea? Will you drink Earl Grey tea while we're watching?
I like some tea and crumpets.
Speaking of Earl Grey tea,
yes.
I want to say at World Market is where I found it, but I think you can get it online. There is a Downton Abbey branded Earl Grey with vanilla tea. It is amazing.
Those are my two favorite things.
I will take a picture and I will send it. But it was a thing. I literally bought like 8 or 10 tins of it just so that I could like ration it and have it. It's amazing. I want to say it's Republic of Tea who did it. The same people who actually did the 3 Mandalorian teas, which I haven't gotten to try yet, but I want to.
I didn't know they had Mandalorian tea.
All the genres.
They totally did. They did a total plug-in. They have like I want to say it's an herbal black tea and a green tea, and you can imagine who's on the green tea.
Actually, there's more than one. There was more than one.
The other one is fine. It's a nice little herbal. You can kind of just drink it and not think about it. Yeah, but that Earl, yes. Yeah. That one, the Earl Grey with the vanilla.
Downton Abbey.
It's amazing. It is absolutely worth it. Get it, order it. 2 sugars and just a splash of milk to kind of turn the color, and it is incredible.
So traditionally Earl Grey is drank with lemon, not milk. I'm with you. I'm a milk fan, but traditionally lemon.
Interesting. I normally like teas just kind of straight as they are.
Yeah, same.
But I went to a Doctor Who themed.
Oh, there's many internet. Man.
There are a number of them.
There are many of them. Wow.
But yes, I went to a Doctor Who themed tea party one time, and it at like this British tea house in where was it? Ashburn or somewhere out in Western Virginia, which makes no sense, but it was there. And they had that, and that was the way they kind of prepared it, and it was just amazing that I had to get it and buy it. It was so good.
You would like a London Fog. London Fog is essentially that. It's Earl Grey with cream or milk, but not a splash. It's actually a bit more than a splash. But yeah, that's a London Fog.
Awesome.
London Fog is 80s apparel. That's all I know it is. A cool 80s jacket.
I totally saw like the long jacket in my head first, and then realized no, we're on tea.
Yes. I was thinking about the one with the collar and the epaulets and London Fog. I mean, come on, everybody remembers that fashion. You have created a monster. You've just combined like 2 of my favorite things, tea and Downton Abbey, that's a made in heaven.
It's worth it. They're great.
Well, I will tell you this,
and then when season 2 Picard comes out. We can all try some of Patrick Stewart's go-to tea, which is Yorkshire Gold.
I'll try it.
I warn you, though, you literally only need to steep it for about 7 seconds. This thing will put hair on your chest. Oh, my God. This is the strongest tea I've ever tasted in my life. And there's interviews of Patrick Stewart just like, dropping it in and drinking this stuff like it's nothing. And it's just like, oh, that's how you do it. Got it.
Well, I think that would be a perfect opportunity to have a watch tea party.
A watch tea party.
Party of watching us drink tea?
Yes. I'm drinking coffee anyway. Might as well just switch it up for some really ridiculously strong tea. And we can compare and say, how's your tea, mate? That sort of talk, right? Speaking of which, I want to also start doing watch parties of Peaky Blinders. Has anybody been watching? Well, Logan, I know you're not going to watch Peaky. It's basically Boardwalk Empire, but with really bad accents and a lot, not more violence. I'd say the same amount of violence. And
I've heard of it, but I have not watched it.
It's a crime family of, and again, I don't like the term, but they refer to themselves as gypsies. But it's kind of it's definitely like a coming from nothing success story where they're basically literally just in the gutter, and their family, they have a family enterprise, and it's just gangster all the way up, but it's a family gangster, and it's it's starring Cillian Murphy, and he just does an amazing
I like
job.
him.
And Tom Hardy also plays a really dynamic role. It's and also what's his name, who's Badfinger from Game of Thrones, or Littlefinger.
I was like Badfinger,
Yeah,
Littlefinger. I don't know the
Badfinger's the band. Yes, Littlefinger, the guy that yes.
Don't look at me for an actor or actress name.
Yes.
And then speaking of crime families, October 1st, The Many Saints of Newark. We've got that one coming. The Sopranos prequel. The prequel. So excited for that.
Played, starring. Well, first of all, it has John Bernthal in it, which I'm a huge fan of. DC boy. He's a DC boy. And also, James Gandolfini's son is playing young Tony Soprano. Yeah.
You don't know any of these.
The actor who played Tony Soprano, who died, his son is literally playing him. It's amazing, and the trailers look phenomenal. He has just
watched Game of Thrones, and neither of you. Well, you've watched Tom. You haven't watched Downton Abbey, so you guys get on that. Then I'll watch The Sopranos.
I have no intention of watching Game of Thrones ever.
Really?
Yeah.
I watched the first 4 episodes. That was more than enough to know that I have no desire to see the series.
That's a bad representation of the series overall. I have a feeling I know what the parts you're referencing.
Oh,
that after the first season, that gets toned down a lot.
No. That's actually probably not, because if it wasn't the first 4, I would have been done by the 9th episode. Because I don't have any desire to watch people try to be bad each other.
Oh,
like there's no, no altruistic, heroic, just somebody with actually good intent of a character in that show that I've ever seen. I can't get behind anybody in it, and I have no desire to watch it.
It is a.
And I say 9 because I know episode 1, season 9 is when I think Ned Stark gets killed, and he was the only person who might have also been, semi supportable. I'm not a.
You didn't support Jon Snow at all?
I'm trying to. I get what you're saying, but at the same time, I'm like, isn't that kind of life? Like nobody is all good, right?
Nobody is all good, but some people, but there are people who actually try to be.
So
nobody try to be. Everybody just wants power, and they will do whatever they need to do to get it. And that kind of series doesn't intrigue me.
No, the story of Jon Snow is pretty much that.
Yeah, I agree with that.
He doesn't want power.
Agreed.
But he ends up being one of the best characters of the show.
But I will say I agree that the series is not for everybody.
Unlike
Downton Abbey, that is for everybody.
The biggest problem I had with the series is
its decline.
Besides that, I don't like it when an author just kills off character. Like you build so much support behind a character, and you're like, they're dead.
But that's what kept it unpredictable. And there were so many characters. There were plenty more to talk about.
But it's one of those it went too far with it.
It's a problem. Same problem I have with Joss Whedon shows. I love them, but then he just drives a sword through somebody just to stir the pot.
Yeah.
But that keeps the interest, right? I mean, I'm not saying it's good or bad, but keeps the interest. And it makes you're never on firm footing because you never know who the next one could be.
I get the unpredictability, but at the end of the
day, I do know that a lot of fans left the show after the Red Wedding because
that was a brutal.
Felt betrayed by that, just
betrayed.
That was right out of the books, though, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, it was.
But believe it or not, a lot of people that watched the show never read the books.
Yeah.
The majority.
I'm one of them, and I'll tell you why I haven't read the books. I don't start a book series. This is going to be terrible, but I don't start a book series until the author is done with them because I am not one that can read a book and then wait to read the next one for years and years. I can't do that. It drives me insane. So because he has not finished them yet, I have not started reading them. And at this point, I don't know if he will finish them,
And
to be honest
what's
with
weird
you.
is I didn't think I was like that,
Oh, I am.
but I get it because that's how I was with the Harry Potter series.
Yeah, I can't.
I didn't get into the Harry.
I forget what's in those books that I read 2 years ago because it took you so damn long to write the next one. I can't do it.
I didn't get into the Harry Potter series till the 4th book, and I just happened to get lucky that the 5th book was coming out like in a couple of weeks. But I literally, in like a 2-3 week period, went back and read all the
And
first,
then how long did you have to wait for the next one?
and then after Order of the Phoenix
See?
came out, like it was, I don't remember how freaking long.
Yeah, I can't do it.
And I was just like, oh.
I don't have that level of dedication. I don't have that level of memory.
It can be frustrating, but I don't know. Sometimes I find like Naomi Novik wrote a series, Temeraire series, I guess basically she kind of called it. It was a series of 9 books that basically reimagined I think it was the Napoleonic Wars, but if dragons were real and existed as an air force.
Interesting.
That's
okay.
cool. I kind of
astonishing, amazing, just a wonderful, wonderful writing. And it was a 9-book series, and that was actually part of the problem that I noticed at the end. And I still haven't finished it because she had like the first 3 or 4 out, and I would get them and got them on audiobooks when I was traveling back and forth from New Jersey to Maryland and all sorts of other places. And then it would be like another year or more before even the audiobook came out, because I was reading it mostly or listening to it mostly on the rides. And I found like I had to go back and kind of start over.
Yep.
And then go through. And at some point it's like, I'm not going to do that a third time, but I still want to like listen to these as they're coming out. But it's like, I'm forgetting like, why is this group of dragons here? And why is this person there? Like it was, I can appreciate that.
I'm out.
I've there's been 2 book series on audiobook in recent years that I had that happen with. Like one is by it's not Dennis Taylor, that's the Bobaverse. Those are good.
Those are amazing too. Those are fantastic.
I had never heard of, and I was questioning if I was going to like it or not, like when I read the concept.
Yeah.
And then after like, I don't know, maybe the first 20 minutes, I was just like, this is cool.
I used up all of my saved Audible credits and just got all 4 of them at once because it was just like, oh, they're so good.
Yeah. I'm trying to think.
Sort of Truth books. That's a good series. Both on audio or book version, regular book version.
Well, you know, we got to add a book segment to this show. I mean, in FYI, I did see if Book Binge was taken, and it was taken. So I was going to make a whole series of that.
Craig Allenson did a series called The Expeditionary Force. Started with a book called Columbus Day, but it's like part of the Expeditionary Force.
I've seen that. I haven't gotten any, but I've seen them advertised.
So the first 3 or 4 were really, really good. But after that, it got extremely formulaic, and it was just like, okay, now it's just getting more ridiculous. I mean, there were still interesting parts, and it still made me laugh, and I still enjoyed like parts of the books. But it just got to a point where it's like, now the only reason like I want to finish is just so I can finally hear the end.
The completionist aspect of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And, But the first like 3 or 4, maybe the 5th, were phenomenal. Like they were really just new stuff and really captivating and a lot of good concepts. I mean, the premise is like aliens invade Earth on Columbus Day, and
of all the days,
it's two races of aliens invade Earth, and one basically we end up helping one alien race get the other alien race off the planet, and
the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Yep.
No, well, they convince us that they're our friend, and then they kind of enslave the human race, and they start
No.
it's not even really but they enslave us without enslaving us.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they convince us that we need to help them.
I feel like this needed a spoiler alert.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Sorry, internet.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it's
So-
like it's in the first 20 minutes of the book. But
More spoiler alert, internet.
Yes.
But no,
If
like
it's in the last 90 minutes of the show, it's all right.
But that's not the crux. That's not the crux of the series. Like it's such a minor point in the series.
Yeah.
The crux of the series is that while this National Guard, sergeant, who gets transported off world to go help the expeditionary forces, he ends up doing some stupid shit that gets him put in prison on a alien planet. And while he's in that prison, he meets a.
Can we just put a spoiler alert banner all across here? I feel like maybe we should stop.
It's not. It's like I'm not doing anything major. But he just meets a sentient beer can, so to speak, who is basically like a extremely powerful being. Yeah, Kenny spoils books. Sorry.
No, it's a new segment. It's a new segment we're doing. So yeah.
But anyway, what the crux of the series becomes is this guy's adventures with the beer can.
You had me, I think, for a little bit. Now I'm out. You definitely spoiled it. I'm not interested anymore.
Oh man.
Well, what kind of beer is it? Is it Pabst or is it, Michelob? What are we talking about here?
It's silver, so I'm guessing like Coors.
Oh, yes, the silver bullet. I get it. Yes.
If you Google Skippy the Magnificent, you'll see what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I'm out. It's by that description alone, I'm out.
Again, hey,
I'm gonna say like sorry, I know I'm wrong. The first few books are really hilarious. Right. They are.
Well, you know what? We got to start a segment where we start just doing book reviews, and just like
I'm down for that.
Yeah. I mean, we got so many.
I got a list.
Yeah, we got
a list.
And thanks to Claire being here, we got we're going to start doing food. We're going to do sports with Kenny. I'm going to be doing literature and theater with
the only sports are Formula One and golf, maybe football.
I don't
college.
I'm just spoiling that right now.
I'm just saying I don't know how exciting talking about golf may be, but you know what, we can give it a try. We can definitely give it a try.
That's fun to watch. Why do I want to now talk about it?
Yes.
Got a point.
Well, if we do talk about it, we'll need to whisper and talk about how on the back nine. Oh, he took the shot. Oh.
I'm feeling sick for that episode.
It'll be our ASMR.
A little bit of blue flu there.
Yeah, the non-coronavirus cough.
Yeah, it's called the binge flu. I get it.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing. But anyway, all fantastic stuff. I mean, you guys, as always, you bring it, and we got some new topics. So, everybody.
I said we should just do a topic based on the banner you got up right now. Kenny spoils books.
Yes, that's going to be a spin-off series.
I'm also feeling sick for that episode.
Yes. Yes, it's called the binge theory fever or what have you. Anyway, I think we have like just too much content and not enough time. Speaking of which, we went over the hour. I know we were trying to do an hour, but we just got too many things and we have too much fun. And time flies when you're having fun. Everybody out there, don't forget to follow us on our other social platforms. We're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on TikTok. Now if you go to TikTok, you'll see Kenny dancing there. So go to our TikTok and see that.
Mr. Undressed, you'll have to go see.
Exactly.
It's TikTok, not OnlyFans.
OnlyFans. Speaking of which,
OnlyFans.
OnlyFans said they were going to go legit.
They did.
No, they backed out of that.
Nope, they backed out real quick.
Yeah, they were like, yeah, we're only going to be, putting out, general content.
Yeah.
How much is that? How much are we losing? No, hardcore.
Yeah.
Yes, they moonwalked right away from that. But again, we've really started doing a lot of interesting things with our watch party on Scener. That is SCENER.com/binge theory. We'll put a link in the description below. We're having a lot of fun. We want to start doing like personalized watch parties for our Patreon viewers, so we can do like some of the big names, like Godfather, Star Wars, just some really great movies with a select audience. Yes, but we are going to be doing Downton Abbey. I don't know if anybody's going to want to pay to see that, but we'll just start watching it and we'll see.
Come on, back me here. Downton Abbey.
If we get people to subscribe and watch, then that audience will get the benefit of watching Claire's take on tea and crumpets with Downton Abbey. We'll do tea parties, and it'll be joyous. Trust me.
And let's be honest, you had 10 million consistent viewers for 6 seasons. There's something there.
That is true. That is true. I'll tell you what, we'll put some episodes out there and see if we get some some new fans, and then of course we do it all for the fans, so we will accommodate. Absolutely. And also music theater fans. Is that how you pronounce it? Theater?
Hamilton.
Hamilton.
Brothers, we can discuss how problematic it is.
No, we'll go down the list. Hamilton. Should we do Cats? Because I hear there's some issues with their rear end. Cats.
I was actually pleasantly impressed and surprised with that.
I did not watch it.
It was not what I expected, but once I understood what it was a little better, I kind of appreciated the bits that they had. It wasn't as distracting and as shocking or as whatever as everybody seemed to say, and my wife and I actually really enjoyed it.
Interesting. Now and also we need to do, what was the other one? 7 Brides with 7 Brothers.
Yes. Though I don't know what streaming service that one's on, or if it is right now.
Brothers?
It is not.
That's probably for free on YouTube at this point.
Could be.
There you go.
Look, whatever streaming service has not picked it up needs to, because it's that good.
I think so. And so there's Hamilton, there's 7 Brides for 7 Brothers, there's Rent, right?
Yes, Rent.
Well.
Singing in the Rain. How did you get that one?
Which one? What is it? What does it say that again?
It's a classic.
Singing in the Rain. You have not heard of this? Oh, White Christmas.
No, I couldn't hear you. It was a bad connection. Yeah, with Gene Kelly.
That's a good one.
Yes.
No,
and the reason I know that is because in one of my favorite movies, The Professional, Leon was watching Gene Kelly do the Singing in the Rain, and then when Natalie Portman was playing the memory game with them, she was doing anyway. Go watch The Professional. I don't know if I'm going to watch. I'll watch The Professional and just see that one little scene where they're doing Gene Kelly's Singing in the Rain. No, I definitely know what I want to watch. What's the one where the Jets and the Sharks?
Grease.
No.
West Side Story.
West Side Story. Sorry.
Yes, West Side Story. Yeah, come on, that's the T-bird.
Slogan.
Yes.
It's late. All right. I'm done. I'm fried.
No.
We could do Grease too. There's nothing wrong with little John Travolta, Sandy. It's no Grease.
No.
There were some good songs in Grease. I'm sorry, there were some very good songs.
Overdone.
There's actually some great musical episodes of TV series too.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes, there are.
Many, all over the place.
So if we're talking about musicals,
yes,
is Disney movies, are they a musical?
I absolutely count them as musicals.
I do too, right?
Yes.
Frozen, Moana.
Yep.
They're all musicals.
Okay.
Yes. All right. Okay. So here we got a whole bunch of musical things that we can partake of. And again, what we'll probably end up doing as a show, as this project, this experiment that we're doing reaches its end, is we'll have watched every movie of every category of every genre and every TV series and every sports show that's ever been broadcast, and then we can retire. We've done it all, and we'll have brought you all of the entertainment. Yeah, exactly. I got nothing to do, so why
You can come hop up with the kids anytime, Julian. Just let me know. Just name your time. 3 a.m. is a really good time to come help.
Yes, you know what? I'm an excellent babysitter. You just put them right on the couch, and I'll just watch them. And if there's something wrong, I'll text you. So there you go.
Look, put on trucks.
That's
fine. Some kind of truck
Put
movie.
Trucks.
Yeah, truck movie, truck show. My kids will go with you, no problem.
Now, wasn't there a horrible movie called Monster Trucks? There was.
I don't know, but I think my kid would like that just based on the name.
Yep.
Yes, it was literally monsters that went inside the chassis of a truck, and I think it was based off of a toy or something like that. And
the weirder,
and it
better.
starred the guy that was having. Interesting. All right, I was going to go down a whole Pan's Labyrinth and Dark Crystal, and
Howard the
what
Duck.
was the one with David Bowie?
Ooh.
Yes.
Yeah.
What was the one with,
How do we not
What was
include
the
that?
what about
I did
Labyrinth?
this for myself. How did I forget that one?
Yes. What was the one with David Bowie?
Labyrinth.
Yeah.
That wasn't Labyrinth. Was that Labyrinth?
Yes, it was.
It was. I'm thinking.
I
about
have seen that movie 1.5 million times. Don't argue with me on this one.
I don't know if the numbers check on that, but I do remember Pan's Labyrinth. I saw Pan's Labyrinth.
Not the same thing.
Not the same thing. Yes, this is David Bowie and playing the Goblin King. Is that what he is? Or
yes, in Labyrinth. Yeah.
There you go.
Jennifer Connelly playing the lead.
And the worm. The worm.
And just so you know, Jennifer Connelly plays Friday, which is the AI for Spider-Man suit. There you go. Full circle.
Yeah.
Full circle. And she's married to Paul Bentley. That is Vision. Full circle. See, it's
She's
all
really? I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, they're married. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And she was also in one of my favorite darker films, Requiem for a Dream. So there you go. Yeah, the indie heads out there know what I'm talking about. I'll do my own little segment. I'm going to call it, Julian's, point of no return, and it'll just be dark indie films, and we'll just watch it and we'll be cynical together. It'll be a great show. But anyway,
I think people would prefer Downton Abbey. Just saying.
Listen, we can all be depressed in our own way. I'm not trying to lock you into any sort of a formula. If you're depressed drinking tea. You do. What are the different flavors of tea? Earl Grey and
Earl Grey's the best. I mean, that's just what that is.
All right. Okay.
Earl Grey or a London Fog,
We discussed that.
We talked about London Fog and Lacoste and Polo and all the other fashions. Yes, London Fog. That is a wonderful name. Anyway, we've had too much fun. We've said it all. We've seen it all. We've done it all. And guys, thanks so much for making this a fantastic show.
Thanks for having us.
And again, the fact that we're doing these each week and we still have fresh content and amazing things to talk about is awesome. And we didn't even get to half the stuff out there, so we still have stuff that we couldn't touch on because we were cutting for time, and we're still a half an hour over. So. Just know that you come here for all of your quality content. Again, follow us on social. We're on all the platforms. You can't miss us. And, like I said, we're going to hopefully start doing some watch parties. So be sure to subscribe so you can be in the know when we start to drop those. Anyway, guys, thanks again. And, want everybody out there to be kind to each other. Take care of yourselves. And as always, if it's worthwhile, it's worth binging.